Hi, I'm Ellen Heed, founder of STREAM. STREAM stands for Scar Tissue Remediation, Education, and Management. I believe that scar tissue is the unacknowledged cause of too much human suffering, so I developed STREAM as an advanced professional training for healthcare practitioners. STREAM gives health providers of all stripes the tools they need to address scars effectively and amplify human potential as a result. I'm so proud of the work that STREAM graduates are doing. I made an entire video series highlighting their accomplishments. These videos feature the work of scar tissue specialist Andy Stout. A trans man, Andy specializes in all kinds of scar work, but has a special interest in scars resulting from gender affirmation surgeries. He serves his community in Oakland, California at Azure Skies Chiropractic. This clip is called Clinical Pearls, or Stream in the Wild. In it, Andy and I discuss birth injuries and surgeries and the chronic pain they can produce. But more interestingly, Andy talks about how this can be a particular problem for trans men who may not feel comfortable going to a conventional OBGYN for care. Too often, people then assume that nothing can be done. But Andy describes how people get great results from gentle internal work in the places that feel painful during penetration and are soon able to enjoy sex again. We talk about how STREAM sessions differ from pelvic floor PT because STREAM works directly with the brainstem and the nervous system. We also discuss the effects of stress when receiving pelvic floor work and how STREAM practitioners are trained to address the nervous system first and foremost prior to pelvic floor contact. Enjoy, and I hope you find value here. Thanks for listening. But let's go into working with people who have decades of pain after childbirth. I'm curious about that and painful penetration because do people ever come to you explicitly for that reason?
Yes, and specifically trans men who, didn't know that anything could be done. And somebody I'm thinking of in particular had, it's a little bit common for people to have tears at, 5 and 7 of the introitus. And it's, to work that space doesn't take a long time. It doesn't take a whole lot of work, right? It's very thin,
It's
tender
delicate
tissue.
Yes.
Yeah. And so, but just to sort of free up those scars can change everything. Sort of like how my experience was regarding my cervix being unaffixed. People can have great results and enjoy sex again where penetration had hurt before, because of those scars pulling and causing pain on penetration, or even just touching.
Yes, you mean just like physical contact, just
Right.
on the surface, not even going in, but just around could be painful.
Yeah.
Right, right. And so when you see people who have birth-related scars and they've been to various specialists and no one has ever identified their problem as related to scars, what do you say to those people?
Well, they'll often ask me, how are you different from a pelvic PT? And I love pelvic PTs. I'm so what a time to be alive that
Some
we
of
are
my
here.
best clients are pelvic PTs.
Right? Yeah.
Yes.
I love them. I love what they do. I'm so into it. But what I do is a little bit different. Like my sessions are quite a bit longer than 20 minutes. And it's all about helping a person on the table get down regulated and ready
You're
for
working with the
pelvic
nervous
surgery.
system.
Right.
Right.
Right. Because
What's the
if
benefit
you
of that? So let's just slow down a little bit here because the working with the nervous system is kind of another central pillar of how and why stream has a different outcome than other medical or medical adjacent modalities. So when you work with the nervous system, what's the benefit of that for your client? And do you ever have to explain that to people when they say, why are you touching my head when I came here for something happening in my pelvis?
Oh yeah. Yes, the occipital hold to help a person relax. Most of the people that come into my office have a stress level because they've just had to park in my neighborhood, and they're living or working or driving in Oakland, which is stressful.
Yeah.
And then there's the whole life before they started the journey to my office. There's people come in stressed out. And if somebody is stressed out, they're going to be bracing against what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if they're relaxed, their body, their tissue is far more receptive to the work.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like fighting a body. Whereas if you go to a medical professional for the same kind of thing, for the same kind of problem, they, you got to get there and get through the waiting room, and then get on the table and be ready. Be ready. Here we go. We've got 20 minutes to do a thing.
Yeah.
And then you're up and you're out. And what I do is it's slower and more gentle. And I try to help a person get down regulated so that their tissues are more receptive to the work.
Yeah, well, that's critical. I mean, really understanding the relationship between our nervous system state and our tissue's ability to respond in a beneficial way to touch instead of through retraction and tightening and bracing, like you were describing. How about opening so there's better fluid flow? And how about so there's more neural communication? And how about so there's better muscular relaxation so more blood could get to the tissue? If you're constantly clenching because of pain or fear of pain, that's going to actually prevent the very blood that you need to refresh and rejuvenate and change the quality of the tissue from getting there because it's very tight.
Right.
But how about a case when somebody has been told surgery is their only option and you made a change with them in a way that sort of they found surprising?
Yeah, there was one great example where somebody had Dupuytren's on both hands, and
Can you describe what Dupuytren's is? I mean, I know what it is. It's a scar in the middle of the palm that creates a kind of contraction.
Right. It's a hereditary scar that will cause somebody's hand to, not flatten out.
Yeah.
Right. It's getting pulled in some way, and so they came to me for their post-surgical scars for Dupuytren's in one hand, and they hadn't had the surgery in the other hand
Oh
yet.
my gosh, what an amazing situation. Wow.
Right? So we worked on both, and they got great results. They wrote me an excellent review. And so and then they don't live near here, but they're actually a doctor, and I think that they got an understanding from our work together about how to go forward and keep it from coming, from getting as bad as it was before. And I think that they will probably avoid surgery.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So I know we've talked about this a little bit, but I'm just wondering if you have examples of sort of like single session miracles anything come to mind where somebody's come to you for a session that you thought was going to be more complicated and then suddenly what?
My favorite story.
Okay.
Somebody came to me. They were referred by a roommate. A friend of a roommate, and they were having a hard time walking, and because they had ovary pain, and they had already had a history. They'd had all sorts of interventions, surgical interventions, and they hadn't gotten answers yet. Well, they had a hysterectomy, but that still kept the ovary
remain. Okay.
Right. And so anyway, she was on the table. Well, she came to see me and apparently had driven a long ways to see me. And she's like, I'm here for internal work. And I'm like, well, okay, let's see what's going on. And I was like, well, let's put a Castor pack here, and this is where it hurts. Okay, we're gonna start here and see what we find. And she was like, look, because she'd been to so many doctors and specialists and practitioners of all sorts of people, and was just like, I came from really far. It hurts me to drive, and I came here for internal work, and that's what I want. I had already put a Castor pack on her over the spot where her pain was, and what I hadn't seen when I put on the Castor pack, the light was shining in such a way through the window that when I took the Castor pack off and it was oily in that spot and it was just shining like a beacon, I'm like, oh, what's this? And she was like, oh, that's my appendectomy scar from when I was 9.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah. And so I put my hand, I asked, may I palpate it? And she's like, yeah, my doctor does it all the time. So a doctor is touching this and doesn't know that this is an ovary stuck way up here. Like it's stuck in this tissue and I can put my hand on it and feel an ovary.
Gosh, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, good. We got this. I know what to do. We're just going to do this today and see if you need internal work down the line. And we freed it up, and she drove away really far somewhere, and I never heard from her again. And then it was like months later where I overheard one of my roommates talking to another roommate saying, what Andy does is amazing. So-and-so went in there, couldn't even walk. She walked out of there. She walks around the lake.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, this is the thing. People have no idea, and they think they might know, and they might have ideas about what's required, but they actually don't have any idea of what the right questions to ask might be, because we're palpating and feeling differently than even medical professionals. The more we know, the better we can help our clients. And this is one of the reasons that Stream is so anatomy intensive, because we have to know what's there in order to know how it can be affected by scar tissue. Because people think of things very in a compartmentalized way, like the ovaries are here and the bladder is here and the sacrum is here, and they don't think about how those things could all get glued together in a way that causes the kind of pain you were describing for this for the last client you were telling me about.
Yeah.